Welcome back to the story, dear readers. As he plated the steaming bowl, memories of the previous night flooded his mind, but he pushed them aside, focusing instead on the comforting routine of eating. Settling into the living room, he turned on the TV and began munching on his noodles, seeking solace in their familiarity. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, shattering the fragile tranquility. Jungkook sighed deeply, reluctantly setting down his bowl and trudging to the door, swinging it open. He was met by Taehyung, who stood there with one hand nestled in his pocket and the other holding a vibrant bouquet of flowers. "Hey there," Taehyung greeted, a tentative smile gracing his lips. "Frick," Jungkook exclaimed under his breath, instinctively attempting to close the door again. Hey, hold on. I want to talk," Taehyung pleaded, stepping forward to block the door. Jungkook, exasperated, left the door ajar and walked back to his dining table, grabbing his noodles and continuing to eat, deliberately ignoring Taehyung's presence. Taehyung stepped inside, looking around the house, absorbing the atmosphere. "It took me a while to find your hideout. Anyway, I am here now," he said, placing the flowers on the table with a soft thud. "I didn't know you moonlighted as a delivery guy," Jungkook shot back, sarcasm dripping from his words as he glanced at the bouquet. Taehyung let out a low chuckle, shaking his head. "Good on ya, mate. You're a real character. I skipped breakfast myself, how about sharing some of that tucker?" Jungkook's eyes narrowed, his gaze locked onto Taehyung's amused face. "You didn't quite catch me, did you?" Taehyung chuckled, clearly entertained. Jungkook's expression turned icy. "I've been born and bred in Korea, not here, I confess. Your Aussie colloquialisms have left me utterly bewildered, Taehyung." "Ah, I see. So, brekie's off the table, then?" Taehyung asked. Jungkook ignored him. Undeterred, Taehyung glided into the kitchen, expertly portioning out a plate of steaming noodles. He returned to sit across from Jungkook, a mischievous glint in his eye. "Gosh, this is extremely spicy," Taehyung exclaimed, his face contorting in mock distress. "How do you Koreans tolerate such culinary ferocity? Please, enjoy your tasteless, bland food then," Jungkook quipped, rolling his eyes as he stood to clean up. As he washed the dishes, Taehyung followed him, determination etched on his features. "Jungkook, can we have a quiet word?" Jungkook kept his focus on the sink, dismissing Taehyung's presence until he felt a gentle grip on his arm, turning him around. "I'm sorry, mate, I didn't mean for things to go wrong," Taehyung said, his voice laced with regret. Jungkook's expression remained unyielding. "You're forgiven, now leave." Taehyung's tone took on a more sincere, earnest quality. "Fair go, Jungkook, I know I stuffed up. Can we just have a chat about it?" "No need to go on about it, Taehyung," Jungkook said, his voice firm but controlled, as he scrubbed a stubborn stain on a dish. "Apologies won't change a thing. You've made your bed, now lie in it. I never wanted this marriage anyway." Taehyung's eyes locked onto Jungkook's rigid back, his expression a mix of frustration and resignation. He set his chopsticks down, noodles forgotten, and dialed a number on his phone. "G'day Sarah," Taehyung said, but she cut him off before he could continue. "Taehyung, I was trying to reach you last night. Dad wants to have a chat with you about the wedding," Sarah said. Taehyung took a deep breath before dropping the bombshell. "Sarah, listen, I've got something to tell you. I'm withdrawing from our engagement." There was a pause on the other end before Sarah's voice came back, incredulous. "What's going on, Taehyung? This is out of the blue."
"That's it," Taehyung said, his voice firm, as he ended the call. Jungkook's eyes widened in shock, his face pale. Taehyung's voice was low and even as he turned to Jungkook. "I called it off. Beautiful bloke. He slid the ring off his finger, his eyes locked on Jungkook's as he slipped it into his pocket. Jungkook's eyes went wide, his face a picture of stunned disbelief. You're joking, right? I didn't ask you to feel sorry for me. I'm absolutely fine, he protested, but his voice trembled. Taehyung's eyes flashed with emotion as he took a step closer to Jungkook. I'm not joking, Jungkook. Being around you last night messed with my head, big time. Can't stop thinking about you, and it's doing my head in. His voice was low and husky, his eyes burning with intensity. Taehyung's eyes locked onto Jungkook's. You're my beautiful bloke, Jungkook. I'm completely gone for you. As he spoke, he took a step closer, his chest almost touching Jungkook's. He reached out, his fingers brushing against Jungkook's, sending a spark of electricity through both of them. Taehyung's hand wrapped around Jungkook's, his thumb tracing gentle circles on the back of Jungkook's hand. Jungkook's eyes fluttered closed, his heart racing as he felt Taehyung's warm breath on his skin. He couldn't deny the attraction between them, and Taehyung's sensual touch was only making it harder to resist. This isn't about sympathy, it's about how truly feel, Taehyung whispered, his breath caressing Jungkook's ear. Then that's sheer foolishness. Just stop, will you? Jungkook retorted, crossing his arms defensively. Fair enough, Cook, but I'm not gonna let this chance slip through me fingers, Taehyung insisted, desperation creeping into his voice. You just hurt her by breaking off the engagement, Jungkook countered, his tone sharp. And you did the same thing last night. Taehyung exclaimed, exasperation etched on his face. Come on, Jungkook. I am sure they'll find someone better. If not, someone better. Be practical. Just leave already, Taehyung. I need to freshen up and step out, Jungkook said dismissively, still not taking Taehyung's words seriously. As Jungkook walked past Taehyung, he added curtly, close the door on your way out. Good luck. With that, he turned and headed upstairs to his bedroom, leaving Taehyung standing in the chaos of their unresolved emotions, the weight of the moment hanging heavily between them. Jungkook could hardly take Taehyung seriously, his mind still reeling from their earlier conversation. As he walked toward his bedroom, he heard the soft click of the door downstairs. A knot formed in his stomach as he entered the room, and he quickly grabbed a towel before heading to the bathroom. The water cascaded over him, each droplet washing away the remnants of his frustration. He sighed heavily, kicking at the water in anger, feeling the weight of everything that had transpired. After a moment, he turned off the faucet, wiping his wet hair with the towel and wrapping it around his waist. As he stepped out of the bathroom, he was startled to find Taehyung standing in front of him, an audacious smirk playing on his lips. What the frick? You're trespassing in my privacy. Jungkook exclaimed, surprise and indignation flooding his voice. Without a word, Taehyung closed the distance between them, pulling Jungkook closer until their lips crashed together. The warmth of Jungkook's body pressed against Taehyung's shirt, dampening the fabric slightly as Taehyung deepened the kiss. When they finally broke apart, Taehyung murmured softly against Jungkook's lips, I called off my wedding for a reason. Do you really think I would leave you so easily? Taehyung. Jungkook protested, his heart racing. Yes, Jungkook, Taehyung replied, his voice low and enticing. We both craved this last night, didn't we? Your eyes flickered back to me every minute. I could see the passion in those eyes. As he spoke, they found themselves moving toward the bed, the gravity of their connection drawing them closer. I thought that was the end. I'd never see you again, Taehyung said, a mix of longing and disbelief in his tone. You, a freaking piece of, Jungkook began, but Taehyung interrupted with a teasing glint in his eye. Taehyung ventured. No, addiction, Jungkook corrected, a smile breaking through his seriousness. Taehyung grinned, capturing Jungkook's lips once more as they both fell back onto the bed, the world outside fading away. But just as the moment intensified, Jungkook pushed Taehyung away, breathless. Taehyung, stop. We can't do this. Why not? Taehyung asked, his fingers threading through Jungkook's damp hair, his touch both soothing and electrifying. We can't, Taehyung. I hail from a country where this is considered a sin. Jungkook replied, his voice tinged with desperation. But we are in a country where it's legally allowed, Taehyung countered, his gaze unwavering. We can't make this work, Jungkook insisted, shaking his head. Yes, we can make this work, Taehyung urged, determination evident in his voice. No, Taehyung, Jungkook started. Taehyung's voice dropped to a whisper, his words barely audible. I want you, Jungkook. I want you to lose control, to unleash your passion on me. Taehyung's eyes closed, his body shuddering with desire, as he pinned down Jungkook, a sensual storm raging within him. The air was electric with tension, their chests heaving in unison. Tell me you don't feel it, Jungkook. Taehyung whispered, his breath hot against Jungkook's ear. Jungkook's voice was barely above a whisper. If I spoke of the things I feel, I'd get you pregnant right here with my child, you Aussie man. Taehyung's eyes flashed with desire, his voice low and husky. Oh, Korean boy, you're killing me. I'd love to fade tilde lui inside me, but first, let me show you what it means to be loved by me. Jungkook's eyes flashed with warning. Get off, Taehyung. Let's leave it here. But Taehyung refused to budge, his hips pressing into Jungkook's. No, he growled, his voice low and husky. I won't let you go. Not when I've finally got you where I want you. But suddenly, a voice echoed from downstairs. Jungkook, are you there? Oh man, that's Appa, Jungkook exclaimed, panic setting in. What's happening? Taehyung asked, bewildered. That's my father coming, Jungkook hissed. Oh, so, Taehyung replied, unfazed. What the? You can't be here in my room. Get out, Jungkook urged, urgency lacing his command. Taehyung, don't tell me I've got to make a break for it like I'm some kind of royal intruder. I'm not exactly hiding in the princess's bedroom, am I? Jungkook, you have no idea what my dad's like. He's already got suspicions about me, and now you're here, looking like Taehyung. Like what? A handsome prince come to sweep you off your feet. Jungkook, just get off me, Taehyung Nathaniel. Taehyung chuckled, his eyes sparkling with amusement. Oh, Korean boy, you're so easy to rile up. I love it. Jungkook's face flushed, and he tried to push Taehyung away. Get off, I said. But Taehyung just leaned in closer, his breath whispering against Jungkook's ear. You know, I think your dad would be surprised at just how familiar we are. Jungkook's eyes widened, and he froze, his heart racing. Taehyung, don't. Just then, they heard the sound of footsteps approaching. Jungkook's eyes went wide, and he quickly grabbed Taehyung's arm, pulling him towards the dressing room. Quick, hide, Jungkook whispered urgently. Taehyung raised an eyebrow, but he didn't resist as Jungkook dragged him into the dressing room. Stay there, Jungkook commanded, his eyes flashing with warning. Don't move.
Taehyung let out a languid sigh, leaning against the wardrobe as his gaze roamed over Jungkook's chiseled abs. A sly smirk spread across his face. Stop that, Jungkook snapped, his cheeks flushed.
As Jungkook turned to leave, Taehyung's hand shot out, grasping his wrist. Taehyung, please. Jungkook's voice trailed off, his eyes pleading. This is not fun. Taehyung's gaze locked onto Jungkook's, his voice low and husky. Exactly, Jungkook Jaeon. This isn't fun. Taehyung Nathaniel isn't fun. With that, Taehyung released Jungkook's wrist, and Jungkook sprinted out of the room. The door creaked open just as Jungkook's father, Jaeon, walked in. Appa. Jungkook's voice trembled slightly as he stepped into the room. Mr. Jaeon stood there, arms crossed, a stern expression etched on his face. You didn't feel the need to return my call, after humiliating me like that. Jungkook's face set in a determined expression. Dad, don't try to make amends. I've told you before, I'm not ready for marriage. Jungkook glanced toward the dressing area, where Taehyung leaned casually against the wardrobe, hands tucked into his pockets, a smirk playing at the corners of his lips. Jaeon's expression turned cold. Fine, my son isn't ready for marriage. So I expect your full attention on our business. Can I count on that? Jungkook nodded reluctantly. Of course, I'll do it. Fine, we are leaving here right away. I've come to pick you up. Get ready, quick, Mr. Jaeon insisted, frustration evident in his tone. Jungkook looked around, feeling the walls close in. I'll reach the airport and join you, Appa. The flight is in another 4 hours. Make it quick, mister. Jaeon replied sharply. Nodding in resignation, Jungkook followed his father out to the car. Once inside, Mr. Jaeon started the engine, and Jungkook locked the main door before racing back to his room. Taehyung fricking Nathaniel. Jungkook called, searching for him as he moved toward the dressing area. Just then, he heard a soft whistle followed by the click of the door. Turning around, he found Taehyung leaning against it, a playful smirk gracing his features. You went pale seeing your dad here. How silly, Taehyung teased, his eyes dancing with mischief. You don't understand the seriousness of this. Because it's normal for you. It's not like that in other parts of the world, Jungkook spat, frustration bubbling over as he rifled through his clothes. Taehyung sighed, watching Jungkook slip on his trousers over the towel, then untie it and snugly fasten his pants around his waist. So, you're leaving? He asked, his voice laced with concern. You heard Appa, didn't you? Jungkook replied, hastily gathering his belongings and packing his luggage. Taehyung leaned against the desk, observing Jungkook with an intensity that made him pause. As Jungkook pulled out his cologne and sprayed it on his neck and wrists, Taehyung closed his eyes, inhaling the scent as if it were a lifeline. After slipping the cologne back into his bag and locking it, Jungkook looked at Taehyung, momentarily lost in his gaze. I have to leave, he finally said, the weight of his words hanging in the air. Taehyung nodded, though disappointment flickered across his face. Can you drop me at the airport? Jungkook asked, checking the time on his phone before sliding it into his pocket. Taehyung's fingers grazed Jungkook's skin as he slowly buttoned up his shirt. If only we had a little more time, Taehyung whispered, I would take you on a journey across my homeland, show you its secrets, and watch the sunset with you by my side. As he spoke, Taehyung's hand lingered on Jungkook's shoulder, his fingers tracing the curve of his neck. Jungkook's eyes fluttered closed, his heart racing with desire. Taehyung's touch was like a whispered promise, leaving Jungkook aching for more. With a soft sigh, Taehyung's hand finally fell away, leaving Jungkook feeling bereft. But the memory of Taehyung's touch lingered, a sensual echo that refused to fade. Just drop me at the airport. That would do, Jungkook replied firmly, yet the softness in his tone betrayed his reluctance. Okay, Taehyung acquiesced, his eyes reflecting a mix of understanding and longing. Jungkook placed his luggage in the boot and climbed into the passenger seat as Taehyung drove them toward the airport. As they traveled, Jungkook noticed the route they were taking. Why this long way? He asked, furrowing his brow. I thought I'd take you through this beautiful scenery, Taehyung said, gesturing toward the stunning views of the beach outside. Beautiful, Jungkook murmured, momentarily captivated by the sight. Indeed, beautiful, Taehyung echoed, a wistful smile touching his lips. When they finally reached the airport, Taehyung turned off the engine and glanced at Jungkook, who unbuckled his seatbelt and did the same. So, goodbye, Taehyung, Jungkook said, his voice heavy with unspoken feelings. As he reached for the door handle, Taehyung caught his hand gently. He retrieved a pen from the side, clicked it open, and leaned closer, his breath warm against Jungkook's skin. With deliberate care, he unbuttoned the first 2 buttons of Jungkook's shirt, writing his number on Jungkook's chest. That's my number, Taehyung said, his voice low and intimate. Jungkook glanced down at the numbers. Then quickly buttoned up his shirt, a rush of warmth flooding his cheeks. He stepped out of the car, and Taehyung followed, their lingering connection palpable in the air. As Jungkook retrieved his luggage from the boot, he turned to face Taehyung, who stood there with a soft smile that seemed to hold 1,000 unsaid words. Bye, Taehyung Nathaniel, Jungkook said, his voice barely above a whisper, the weight of their parting settling heavily on his heart. Bye Jungkook Jaeon, Taehyung replied, his smile unwavering even as sadness lingered in his eyes. He watched Jungkook begin to walk away, each step feeling like a small piece of his heart was being left behind. Jungkook paused for a moment, glancing back at Taehyung, who remained rooted by the car, his expression a mix of hope and sorrow. There was so much left unsaid. Between them, a chasm of unfulfilled possibilities stretching wide, but the reality of his father's expectations loomed over him like a dark cloud. Taking a deep breath, Jungkook turned and made his way into the airport, the bustling sounds of travelers and announcements enveloping him. As he walked through the terminal, he couldn't shake the feeling that something significant had shifted within him, something that would haunt him long after he boarded his flight. Meanwhile, Taehyung stood outside, watching Jungkook until he disappeared into the crowd. A sense of longing washed over him, mingling with determination. He knew this wasn't the end. It couldn't be. The connection they shared was too strong to be dismissed so easily. With one last glance at the airport entrance, Taehyung whispered to himself, "I'll find a way." He climbed back into the car, his mind racing with thoughts of how to bridge the distance that now lay between them. As he drove away, the beautiful scenery of the beach faded into the background, but the memory of Jungkook's smile remained etched in his heart, fueling his resolve to make things right. In that moment, both Jungkook and Taehyung were aware that their story was far from over. It was merely a pause, a moment of reflection before the next chapter unfolded. And while the road ahead was uncertain, the bond they shared would guide them back to each other, no matter the distance or obstacles.
Await their steamy second chapter. Please like, comment and share. Don't forget to hit the subscriber button for notifications. Thank you.